The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Yo, welcome back to K4Wins, K4Wins.com. Kai, Gregory, a man who's been doing the gambling thing, handicapping now for, I say like 30 years. You don't want people to know how old your ass is, but you got the gray hair coming in, so I'm going to push a 40. He's got an AC/DC shirt on.
He started in 8th grade, yeah.
He absolutely did. That is Kip Keefer right below me, executive director of the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, and of course, now just picked up by the Porch Creek Indians, and they have a place down in Aruba. We're going to be doing our show from there sometime next year, hopefully for about a month. I'm pushing. We're going to call Brent. We're going to make that thing for about a month. As soon
as the regular season football schedule is over, I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, I will be as well. So we'll have it. My name is Tony Kurre, longtime radio guy. I worked at ESPN, did sports radio for 20, 30 years. And of course, Kip Keefer, who usually joins us, is with the Las Vegas Raiders today. Yeah. He is working with the Raiders. He is their official beat writer. And first things first, right? I mean, we got.
And isn't it hilarious, you guys? Case sent us a group email last night talking about how the Raiders are tired of all the drama. They cleaned house from top to bottom in their entire organization. This is going to be a brand new day under Pete Carroll and the new general manager. And they're 4 or 5 days into training camp, and they've already got a major controversy going on. It's the damnedest soap opera of all time.
And there's no reason to think that program, that team, that franchise, this is like the beginning of a new thing, and they're going to be successful. I mean, they got a great coach, obviously Pete Carroll. He's been there, done that. And they're in a brand new city. I mean, it's just like, I cannot imagine just the buzz going on. And Kip and I, you and I talked about this while we were doing some television earlier this week, our TV show on ABC 3340. And Kai will join us probably the next couple of weeks talking some college football. ABC 3340 starting lineup. We just talked about it, that town. I mean, and then you talk about the Sacramento A's, of course, obviously, who are averaging, by the way, 6,700 fans a game at their baseball games. People are still showing up. They say when someone yells at a baseball player, everybody in the stadium.
Oh, yeah. He only seats 12,000 or something.
Yeah, it's a minor league park. But so they're building a brand new park right off the strip. So Las Vegas has got it going on, Kip. It's a good time to be a Las Vegas.
They really do.
Yeah,
they really do.
And on top of that, we just mentioned, you said you saw Zach Brown on television. What was it, a couple days ago?
On Fox and Friends. Yeah, the number one morning show, of course, on cable television.
We kind of
He's on Good Morning America today.
There you go. We kind of scooped them because we had their drummer Chris Fryer on the show last week.
Yeah, we beat them by a week. We already scooped the Sphere deal.
My feeling is as much as intricate, as important as Chris Fryer is to that band. He keeps the rhythm for the whole thing. He does his job only. And because when we talked about the collaboration with Snoop Dogg and the things going on at the Sphere, and you mentioned they already added 2 new shows. By the way, we know somebody, so we all need to be going to Las Vegas and seeing Zach Brown band. But they're actually doing this venue in Vegas is so incredible that bands like U2, the Stones, and whoever else is getting an opportunity to play there, they're actually changing the way they perform.
Oh yeah,
to that location, which is amazing. I mean, normally, if you're going to play like the Alabama Theater or acoustically, something's a little different, or maybe you're playing Red Rocks, which is obviously one of the great places to go see a live show because acoustically it's absolutely perfect, but it's outside. But for a band to change up everything and spend 12, 13, 14 months on spending 6 or 7 nights there to make it the best it could possibly should tell you just how good that show is going to be. So if you want to see that show, check us out on our YouTube channel. You can go to Tony Kurre Radio. We have a YouTube channel there. The starting lineup, we're on ABC 3340. We'll get after it. All right. We're going to get into the Big 12 and the ACC today. We are just about 29 days away from the first college football game, Iowa State, K-State in Dublin. So we're looking forward to that. We're inside 30 days, fired up about that. So we're going to get after it here. info@tonykurreradio.net. If you have any email questions, send them on. First of all, we'd like to check on, see how we did last week. By the way, this show's on every Tuesday and Friday, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. And we're always on the Coastal Sports Network. They're going through some technical advantages, if you will. I want to say they're kind of refurbishing some things to make it even faster and better for all of us. So we'll be back on Coastal Sports Network along with 102.9 down in Fort Myers. We'll be back on them on next Tuesday at 10 o'clock Central Time. But how did we do on our numbers last week, Kai?
Well, I mean, we have, since we did the show Tuesday, we've done well since then. Yesterday, 2-2, moves us to 574, 322 and 4 overall. So, still hitting at a great clip. Yesterday, a little bit slow. There was only, we had to go CFL, we had to go WNBA, there's only 5 Major League Baseball games. So we did well in WNBA, but baseball games, good grief. Those yesterday was just kind of crazy. And then, of course, you look at the CFL, and it was a little crazy. We didn't do there, but moving forward, now we're back to a full slate. I love some series this weekend. Also that have kicked up in Major League Baseball. Can't wait to post those and talk about those.
Fantastic. You get on the site, by the way, and a lot of people will notice a couple of things. First of all, we all work together. So if I've got, and this happened a couple of times this past week, where Kip had one side, I had the other, we won't put that play up. We want to make sure we're all consensus on the same page. We also try to stay away from huge favorites. It's just because if you lose a favorite, you're going to have to win 2 to get your money back. And it makes it really difficult. I know there's people like to parlay $200 winners all the time.
Yeah.
You do your thing. That's fine. And I'm not saying that we wouldn't do that, but I mean, I've been bitten by that minus 200 bug so many times. So we try, we're winning at a 70% clip, and we're doing it only giving up 15, 20, 25% juice. We maybe go up to $1.55 or 60 if we really like something. Our over unders are doing really, really well too. And of course, just slight juice on that as well. So when you look at the numbers, we don't want people, because I was checking out a baseball site the other day. They had 3 favorites of 260 or more on it.
Yeah.
First of all, some sites you can't even get a 260 favorite on. You have to give up a run line on it. And I'm never going to give up a run line. It's just ridiculous, because it's going to happen. They're going to win by 1. You're going to lose your bet. And so just to put up that kind of money, it takes one bad night, man. Next thing you know, $100 player is down $1,000, and you're like, what the hell just happened? You wake up sticky, broken, confused, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? So
interesting you said that, because we posted a run line today already. There's a 3 o'clock game today that I don't know if we'll have this online or not, but we took Milwaukee minus 1.5 over Miami today. The line, I think, was 240.
Who's going for
minus 1.5 was even money.
Peralta going today? Who's going for Milwaukee? Yeah, Peralta. He's been good this year, and Milwaukee's been good too. Although they're cooling off.
They're 20 games over 500 as of this morning. That just blows my mind. I saw this team about 6 weeks ago and said these guys are. I mean, they were about 500 then. They're playing it.
They just said they're cooling off. They're 9-1 in their last 10. How is that?
Yeah, I say
really tailing off.
I say that. Well, they cooled off just a little bit after they ran off 12 in a row. But yeah, I mean, they're still hotter than chicken shit. There's no doubt. I mean, they're still playing unbelievable baseball. The crazy thing about the whole Milwaukee thing is, and I really think that the Central is going to have something to say about some wild card action, because I think my Cincinnati Reds, when Green comes back, and again, I read a lot of rubbish out of the Cincinnati Enquirer. That town is really high on their Cincinnati Reds, and a lot of it has to do with Terry Francona. I mean, if you'd had anybody else in there, but when you have a Dusty Baker, a Terry Francona, or a Jeff Brom, or a coach that really, or a Bill Belichick, who we'll talk about today, he can change the entire program in a heartbeat, if not win games, actually put asses in seats, which was what they're doing at North Carolina. Let's, do we have anything else on baseball you want to get into? We got the trade deadline coming up here shortly. And of course, we have plays every single day. There are some days where I'll have 9 things I like, and there's other days where I have absolutely 0. And again, a lot of looks at the run lines and plays and stuff like that. But anything else you want to throw that way, either one of you guys?
Well, I definitely want to talk about, there's 2 marquee series this weekend. You got the Phillies at the Yankees, and you got the Dodgers in Boston against the Red Sox. And with the Dodgers, with their massive payroll and everybody, they were the prohibitive favorite to just buy their way to another championship. It's amazing to me that the Red Sox have been hot here in the last month or so. Those teams are only separated by 5 games in the overall standings. So the dominant Dodgers and the awesome, powerful Yankees, both are pretty pedestrian in the record department, considering the personnel those teams have.
It's something that tells me, and it's a 162 game season, and I expect it to be 20 games over 500 like Milwaukee is halfway through the season. But I feel you, and I don't think the fan bases are getting nasty yet. But if they don't start winning some long streaks, I think you'll see that, Kai.
Well, the pitching matchups favor you. Look at the series this weekend for the Dodgers and the Red Sox. Who would have thought going into this weekend, from the beginning of the year, the Red Sox would actually have the pitchers,
that's
the starting pitchers advantage over the Dodgers. Now, the Red Sox, they can hit, but again, you're starting 4 rookies. You got all kinds of youth in that system. I do like the Red Sox on the series this weekend. I really do. It's just kind of one of those things. And then I like Philly against the Yankees.
And what is that series price for both Sox?
So the price was not up when I looked at it at 8:00 this morning on these, at least on the sites that I looked on. So I don't know, because I've got a whole lot of series prices that I like. I know Boston is not favored, and I know that Philly is not favored, which makes no sense to me. But, look, it's kind of crazy. You look at it. No one in the National League West had a winning record in their last 10 games.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, because you're
out of the
talking
West.
about.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy.
The Padres, the Giants, the Dodgers, Diamondbacks,
the D-backs, and the Rockies. The Rockies were tied for the best record in the NL West the last 10 at 5-5. I mean, good grief.
Good
and
them,
I think, the Dodgers were 4-6, the Padres 5-5, the Giants 3-7, the D-backs 4-6, in that group. And it's kind of crazy to think about that. We're talking about the Colorado Rockies, who've won 26 games all year, have won more games than the Dodgers did in their last 10.
That's shocking.
Well, and they're again, no team's ever gone 0-162 or 162-0. So you're going to win, you're going to lose, and that's what we're here for.
You're going to basically you're going to win two. You're going to go 2-1 if you have a great season.
Yeah. So you're going to win 2 out of 3. It's that third game that you're going to probably have to give up 230 on that you don't want to lose, because then you're just giving up your 2 wins. And so that's what we're here for. That's what we do. We have posted the White Sox. We have posted Colorado. We have posted teams that we were like, what the hell are you doing? And there have been winner chicken dinners. And yeah, we'll post the Bo Sox. We'll post the Dodgers. We'll post the Yankees. We all have teams that we love. And of course, the Atlanta Braves. We'll leave it on that step. Where are your Atlanta Braves right now, Kip? I know. And what were they going into the season? Picked to win the division, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Picked second in the National League by the Vegas odds to win the National League pennant behind the Dodgers.
What was their over/under on wins, losses? Kai, do you remember? Was it 92.5, something like that?
92.5.
Yep.
Yeah, if you got the under,
on 44 wins, by the way, 101 games into the season. They're 13 games under 500 at 44 and 57.
That's a winner.
They are just god off. They find a way to lose every game. They got blown out. The Giants had lost 6 or 7 in a row. They beat them the first game. The Giants just blew them out of the water the last 2 days. The team has quit. They're throwing anonymous pitchers you never heard of because their pitching staff's now completely broke down. They're not getting any production except for from Olsen, who's kind of had a revive year after his down year last year. They're just basically just going through the motions. I've been calling for Snitker to step aside. He announced his retirement plan this week because he's just a pat guys on the back guy.
How long Snitker been there?
Snitker has been in the organization for 51 years. He's been the manager since was it 2019? It's 19 or 20?
About 6-7 years. Okay. So, I mean, and he's done some special things.
He may have even got the job I think they fired Freddie Gonzalez before the end of the 18 season. So full seasons, I think 2018 to current right now.
I really do. And I think you've been talking about Snitker too. And that's why I brought up the Terry Francona thing. A lot of people think the manager doesn't matter in Major League Baseball. I think it's probably one of the most important parts. I mean, huge. Period. I think a right manager win you 10 or 15 games. And there's a reason why the Bochy's and the Dusty Bakers and those guys keep showing up and surfacing in areas and end up winning championships. They do it everywhere they go. And so there's nothing to be said about just how great a manager is. And it's not just about, X's and O's and trying to figure out, lefties against righties and everything else. These guys actually know what they're doing. So it's pretty good stuff.
Real quick though, Tony, before we go to football, are you guys have any interest? The trade deadline is huge, usually in determining a lot of things going forward. Do you guys expect any blockbuster deals? I keep the trade deadline's always been one of my things, and I don't really see a lot of rumblings about anything really seismic going on out there. And it's too bad Case isn't on, because I remember when Case was just a little kid, like second, third, fourth grade, I'd be at work and he'd call me like a day before the trade deadline to say the Padres just traded a relief pitcher so he was monitoring every transaction. I'd say, oh, that's good, so that's always been one of his things. guys too. But Kai, do you see anything on the horizon on the trade deadline that we should be having our eye on? Because there's got to be some sellers, but I really don't see any marquee names that are in the mix as far as the rumors are concerned.
Well, after Seattle made that move yesterday to get Josh Naylor, I mean, I think that was big from Arizona. I think that helps Arizona up a little bit more to have a fire sale. I mean, they're only 3 games under 500, but they're 50 and 53. They're making moves. Seattle needed to make a move. Being 5 games behind Houston to try to get in there. They're still well in the playoff picture. There's a lot of rumors out of Boston that Duran may be on the trading block, which I think
his name's
absolutely stupid for Boston. But I mean, Boston's made stupid trades before.
Why would they trade Jaron? Why would they do that?
Just because of the youth still that they have in the movement, and he's been playing okay, but he according to things I'm hearing out of Boston, they don't think he's an everyday outfielder. I totally disagree, but that's based on what they have, what else they have, and the youth that they have out there. He's hitting okay, but I mean the guy can hit one in the gap, and it's a stand-up double where most people are having to dive in.
He's fast,
and where he's thinking about going for a triple. He steals bases right and left. He's a great leadoff hitter, and from everything I see, great to be in the clubhouse. I mean, it's Boston is winning games differently. Although grand slam the other night from Ramon and just the way they're playing, but it's totally different than what you get with the Yankees, and everybody's complaining about the Yankees. I do think they're going to make a move, and I think it's going to be a pitching move from someone, and I can't remember the guy from Arizona's name. That I think he's it's not their number 1. I think it's their number 2 in their rotation. He's going to be up for trades. I think when I was looking at it, you've got some guys that may get gone from the White Sox. But they've really given everything away in my opinion, in the last 3 years, especially their pitching. Their farm system, in my opinion, is in disarray now because they've given away so many things.
You got a lot of Southsiders heading up to the north side because the Cubs are having some success this year too.
Yeah, Tony, there's 5 or 6 teams. It's amazing how in certain years just a individual position becomes the focus. There are like 5 or 6 teams that are desperate to upgrade their situations at third base. The Yankees are one of them. They got some guy named Vavas playing now who looks like he kind of sucks. Doesn't know how to run the bases. Acuna threw him out tagging up from second to third from the right field corner, nailed him, but he couldn't run 90 feet. But the hot item there is a former Red you'll be familiar with because the Reds desperately need a third baseman. Yeah, everybody's wanting Eugenio Suarez, who is a guy who strikes out about 3 times out of 4 but homers the other time.
He's been in with the Yankees, man.
Yeah, that's one of the guys that the Yankees is going after too. I mean,
everybody third base is like the vogue position. Don't be shocked if the Braves try to unload, and I don't know what his current contract situation. He's mostly under control, but not as much as some of the other ones. Austin Riley is a name for the Braves that I'm not going to be shocked if because you got to move somebody to get something, and I think they've seen this Riley movie for years. He has a huge year. He has a down year. This year he's been really inconsistent. He's been hurt the last couple weeks. I maybe it won't be Riley, but I think somebody's going to unload a competent third baseman because that's what everybody seems to be clamoring for. And of course, like Kai said, pitching help is always huge. Charlie Morton, the 900-year-old veteran for the Orioles, will definitely be moved. Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks. There's some pretty decent names, but pitching's always and bullpen arms. The Braves will unload like Pierce Johnson and a couple other semi-competent relievers they have, but I think the Braves are going to be pretty active. But I'm really interested to see where Suarez ends up. It's amazing after the Reds let him go a couple of years ago, they're really in there bidding like crazy to try to get him back.
I know it. And you know what? I mean, the Reds have done that a million times where they will let go of a player early on. He'll get smoking hot. And I always think it's an environment thing. I really do. I think a lot of times it's just getting out of a losing environment. And next thing it'll get really hot. Yeah, another guy that it's amazing too. And I love to watch the numbers on, but Justin Verlander, this ain't your daddy. Is Justin Verlander. He's 1-8 right now with a 4.7 ERA and a 1.49 WHIP.
And he can only go 5 innings. He's only pitched into the 6th like 3 times in 17 starts. That's not very good. He's 42 years old.
No, there's no doubt. According to MLB, MLB.com, the top 8 baseball teams that need to make moves: the Yankees number 1, the Phillies number 2, Detroit number 3, Seattle number 4, the Mets 5th, San Diego 6th, Toronto Blue Jays are number 7, the 8th team would be the LA Dodgers. So the big dogs, the big hitters. A lot of people would say, listen, despite the fact the Yankees went the World Series last year, why in the world would you want to screw with that and change it? They're always going to tinker. They're always going to do whatever it takes to win and get that right chemistry going down the stretch into October. So it should be interesting to see what happens. And of course, we'll talk about it and have it all for you right here on K4Wins. K4Wins.com. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, too, I wanted to get Kai's reaction to this. We were kind of starting to talk up the Tigers. Man, what's going on in Detroit, Kai?
That's a great question. You want to talk about a team that just completely reversed from the All-Star break, and even a couple of games or series were there before. But it boggles my mind. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm glad you brought this up because we talked about a couple of weeks ago how we really don't like playing right coming up to the All-Star break and then after the All-Star break to the trade deadline. And we put some plays out. We put some, in my opinion, questionable plays out sometimes. That it was probably my plays that were the questionable ones that we put out. But because of the way baseball is going right now, in Detroit, it is just caught on that nobody is hitting the ball. And if they're hitting, the pitching is atrocious. And it looks like, 1 in 9 their last 10, and averaging 2 runs a game. It just looks like everybody's looking for somebody else to make a play. They're not looking at themselves. Everybody's looking at somebody else to make a pitch. Everybody's looking at the manager to make a decision. The manager's looking at the guys make a play, and just everything is ass backwards.
They are.
Anything goes in Detroit.
In their defense, they are a really young baseball team. I don't think people expect them to be as good as they were in the first half for Detroit, for sure. But you're right, and that's what you see when you don't have leadership. When you don't have leadership,
got swept by the Pirates. Good grief!
Hey, now this Pittsburgh Pirates, they'll roll one off once in a while. Now they'll see what happens.
That's just because your Cincinnati Reds been swept by them a few times. You have to say that.
No shit. Please don't
all right,
remind me.
I'll
Listen,
shut up about baseball now.
Yeah, I'm just looking over 78.5. That's all I care about at this point. If they make the playoffs, it's a groovy year for sure. Let's get into some college football here. And we were going to talk about some Big 12 and some ACC. I want to start with the ACC today, just because there was a story that just came down through ESPN. Evidently, ESPN is, they're whores. They were so far up Deion Sanders' jock last year. You could not turn ESPN on, not see something going on with Colorado. He was on College Game Day. He was on their morning show. They were out there like 16 times last year. He was wearing his sunglasses, his hat, the whole 9 yards. And we saw what happened with that program. It appears that ESPN is now sniffing around Bill Belichick's area, his mid-range area, if you will. Maybe it's because he's got a hot 24-year-old girlfriend. All 6 of their home games sold out for the first time in forever for North Carolina. And now even the road games seem to be rolling well. People want to see Bill Belichick on the sidelines. Of course, their home opener is coming up against TCU. According to StubHub, $350 to see North Carolina and TCU in September. Are you shitting me?
You'd have to pay me $350 to go to that game.
According to a lot of the sites, I did a lot of prep today. According to most sites, and I pulled about 5 or 6 sites that I really like, the Sporting News, ESPN, and others. They're looking for about a 6-6, 7-5 record for North Carolina. I think we all know what's going on here. I don't think Bill Belichick's going to be a coach there for 10 years. I do think that he's brought a lot back to the program. But there's some other teams in the ACC. For as bad as the ACC was last year, look out this year, because everyone's just talking about Clemson. But you got Notre Dame that's certainly going to be on the schedule for several teams, including Miami. It may have something to say about it. You got Louisville, who, of course, you talked about Jeff Brom on our show the other day. SMU could be good. NC State has been picked to win 9 games. So we'll start with you, Kai. Let's go with North Carolina. It's a wonderful story. It's super cool. They're selling a hell of a lot of tickets. It seems like they bring old guys in and it works.
I think their schedule probably sets up to maybe win 7 games. They do not have the strongest schedule in the world. That TCU game is going to probably determine their season, like a lot of teams as far as the wins. Right now, I still have TCU winning that game.
And by the way, and I do too. Real quick, just before you go any further, because I want you mentioned the schedule. TCU is their home game September 1st at Charlotte, Richmond at home, at UCF, open date before Clemson, which is a loss, October 4th. Then they have another open date before they play at Cal. Virginia should be a win, at Syracuse, Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, and then at NC State. So it's not an incredibly unbearable schedule, but it's certainly an ACC type schedule as well.
UCF is not going to be good. So I got them 3-1 going into Clemson, 3-2. I think they lose going cross country. I agree. And then I think they're going to come back home, beat Virginia. They're going to lose at Syracuse. I am getting higher and higher and higher on this Syracuse team.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things they have that I think are going to be very good for them. Then but I have them losing Syracuse, beating Stanford, beating what I think is just a atrocious Wake Forest team. Maybe that doesn't happen since it's at Wake. Then I got them beating Duke and losing to NC State.
Yeah, that puts them at about 7-5, 4-4 in the conference. Yeah. So that's about. And I think NC State or NC fans would be happy with that, right? Kip, I mean,
but the buys so early, like they are, and then I think 6 straight games to end the season. That team cannot get beat up. North Carolina cannot get beat up.
Man, it sucks having two open.
They only returned 51% production from last year, 83 total starts, offense 56%, defense 46%, which is like in the bottom 20% of the ACC on returning starters.
Are you buying Bill Belichick, Kip?
Not really. And what he's inheriting, let's not forget the low light of the entire season last year. Mac Brown presiding over another octogenarian in control. Remember at home in Chapel Hill, they lost to James Madison 70-45.
Mm-hmm.
They gave up 70 points to James Madison at home.
And it wasn't that close.
No, it could have been worse.
Right.
James Madison called off the dogs. So, I mean, I don't know what they've done defensively, but they're bringing in the great defensive guru, Bill Belichick. But you guys might, I've got a theory on that. He basically 2 years ago campaigned for every job that this is going into last season. I say 2 years ago, he basically was a major candidate, he spent like a whole week in Atlanta begging the Falcons for their head coaching job because his last couple of years at New England when he was in total control and Brady left were the most embarrassing, just terrible performances. Those Patriot teams were amongst the worst in the NFL. So he's heard the whispers. Oh, okay. All these years, the Patriot dynasty, it was Brady, not Belichick. So this guy is desperate to coach somewhere to try and just kind of renew his stock. And he's gone the college route. I look at Bill Belichick. This is a guy who's preached endlessly his whole career. No distractions, football, mind on football. And what has he done in the last year or so?
No, he's Mr. Distraction. I mean, period.
Yeah,
with the woman he's dating, with everything he's got.
Distraction. There's going to be more interest in Jordan Hudson than on Bill Belichick in North Carolina. And if you're a 22-year-old college football player and your coach is fooling around with a girl that's
you could be dating the coach's girlfriend. Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing, how do you have respect for this guy? I just don't see him relating to young players.
I have absolutely no problem. Hold on. No problem with what he's doing, and I respect him more now than I ever have.
Thank you.
There's not a 70-year-old out there that wouldn't be doing the same thing. He's got the money.
She's with him for his magnetic personality.
If he gets it once a month, it's worth it. He wasn't getting it that much before. No,
who cares?
No, I think he's living the life.
I've never liked Bill Belichick. Love him.
I think he's living the life, and I think I think even Tom Brady's probably happy for him.
You're just a village idiot, though. If you think she has any regard for you at all, I just don't get that.
He's still with a hot young chick.
Yeah. Do you think he carries a blue pill with him? Do you think he actually has a blue pill in his back pocket?
I think he's got a pickle jar full of them.
Yeah, way more than one.
She maybe have to be pickled to end up sleeping with him. We had Bama Hater on our show a couple of weeks ago. He should be pretty happy because his U's looking pretty good. They opened the season Notre Dame on August 31st. I got them win that game. Bethune-Cookman, USF, Florida at home, open date. Then at FSU, another open date. This is kind of weird having all these teams with open dates so close to each other. Louisville, Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State. Then, of course, at Virginia Tech, and they finish up the year at Pittsburgh. That's Miami, at least according to this particular site I'm looking at. They're predicting them to win 10 games. They got them losing to Florida as well as Va Tech, probably because it's on the road. When Metallica comes out, it's hard to win there. Let's start with you, Kyle. What do you think about the U, and are they back?
No, I think they win 8 games. I am not a Carson Beck fan. I think Miami probably gets out coached in 5 or 6 games, including game 1. I got them beating Bethune, beating South Florida, obviously losing to Notre Dame. I got them losing to Florida. I got them losing to Florida, or I got them beating Florida State. Although it's at Florida State, if Castellanos, however you say his name, if he can come back and bring something into Florida State, maybe Florida State wins that. They're going to lose to Louisville. The coaching matchup alone hurts. I think they beat Stanford. They go and lose at SMU. I've got them beating Syracuse only because it's at home and Syracuse dome team and all that. I've got them beating NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt.
Okay. What's your thoughts, Kip?
It's another team that their defense was so horrible last year, and this is my favorite thing about preseason college football. Everybody who played no defense last year always says, "Well, we've made a lot of improvements on defense. We brought in this guy and that guy, and we've got this new coordinator." But teams that play crappy defense just don't seem to cure it overnight in the offseason. This team with Cam Ward last year, dynamic on offense, could score points in bunches. The defense, let's think back to that game at Syracuse, the last game of the year. Clemson had already lost. Miami just had to find a way to win that game. They got ahead by 14 points in the second quarter and just completely, I'm going to say it, pissed it away in the second half because they couldn't stop Syracuse at all. And so I still have big questions. And Kai mentioned Carson Beck. I hope that they don't think Carson Beck's going to come down and replace Cam Ward, because Ward made so many plays with his feet, and I'm not necessarily scrambles and running plays. He kept plays alive. This guy ran around and spun and eluded tacklers long enough to get somebody loose downfield. They made more like backyard kind of football plays last year than any team I can ever remember. They're not going to get that from Carson Beck, so they've had to overhaul their entire offensive philosophy now for a pocket passer who's got concrete blocks on his feet. I just don't see them making that transition. I think
that's a hard watch for a fan too, to go from that style to Cam Ward style, where he can outrun anything, and even on a 3rd and long, man. The breakdown in coverage, the next thing you know, he's getting a first down. I think it was a 3rd and 23 last year.
This is interesting. Carson Beck, too. Last year, the Georgia receiving corps just had a horrible year with drops. Georgia, like 30 passes ahead of the next lowest team, or the next most frequent team of dropping passes. And Terry Quillian, my radio partner, was having a pool installed at her house in Metro Houston. And the guy who was in charge of the pool company was a former Georgia baseball player. And he had an interesting theory. Arian Smith was a Georgia deep threat receiver who went to the NFL Combine and just wowed everybody with his speed and his hands, making circus catches. He dropped so many balls last year for Georgia, it was just not even funny. But this guy has an interesting theory, former baseball player, infielder. He said his theory about the Georgia drops last year, he put some of that on Carson Beck. He said, I played with guys for a lot of years that just put funky, like side-armed, weird kind of spins on throws. He said the the number of drops by the Georgia receivers last year may be attributable to Carson Beck's release or how he was throwing the football. Because you always heard about quarterbacks throwing catchable balls. Well, maybe Carson Beck has a little bit of a yip that we don't even.
If the ball's in the breadbasket, your ass is a wide receiver. Your job is to catch it. I don't care if it's coming from a lefty.
If you got your hands on it,
I don't care if it's going head over heel. It doesn't matter. I mean,
but if it's dipping or spinning or coming in sideways, it's tougher to catch. So I don't know if there's anything to that, but it's interesting food for thought.
That being said, I would think to catch a football from Patrick Mahomes would have to be almost impossible then, because you never know where the hell that ball is coming from. He pushes the ball. He does it underhanded. He does it left-handed. He's throwing right-handed. He's throwing both ways. So, yeah, but, they want to use that argument for sure. All right, I want to go back since we've mentioned the word Syracuse so many times during the show, and we're wondering why. And it's because Kai mentioned earlier in the show that he thinks they could have quite a special season. They do open the season against your Tennessee Volunteers in Atlanta coming up on the 30th of August. UConn, Colgate, at Clemson.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, at Clemson, Duke, at SMU, the open date, then Pitt at Georgia Tech, North Carolina at home, at Miami, open date, at Notre Dame, and then Boston College at the end of the season, at least according to this site here, this sporting news site. They got them going 6-6 and 4-4 in conference play. You see them doing better than that, guy?
I think 6 wins is done. Absolutely.
And a bowl game for this squad would be good.
I think they're there. I do think I've already played Syracuse. I got them at 14 versus Tennessee. Being a dome team and playing in the dome, I like that, especially with all the question marks Tennessee has and all the crap going around with Tennessee right now with Luke Carter, and the locker room is up in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee pulls out a win. It's not going to be a comfortable win. It's not going to be something where in the fourth quarter you're looking to the 2:30 game to go, how do I double the money on this? Unless you take Syracuse, then you probably will be. They're going to beat UConn. They're going to beat Colgate. Clemson, at Clemson, it still says to be determined. So if that's an 11 o'clock in the morning game, then I'm going to give Syracuse a shot because Clemson sucks at home in 11 o'clock games. They wake up about 1 generally at home, and that's what I always look at with Clemson games. I got them beating Duke, losing to SMU. I got them beating Pitt only because it's at home. But I don't know. I think they're going to lose to my pick to win the ACC, Georgia Tech. Then they beat North Carolina, lose to Miami, lose to Notre Dame, and beat Boston College.
All right,
that's right. I said Georgia Tech wins.
There you go. Before we finish up the show today, we're going to get Kai's top 3 active college football coaches. We did this on the show. Of course, Case pretty much went chalk. Who did he have? He had Ryan Day with Lanning, and who else did he have?
Mark or Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart. And so we're kind of like, wow. The rest of us all kind of picked 2 guys that, yeah, you could definitely say that we'd love to have them. And I think you posed the question right on, Kip. If you're starting a football team right now, who would you like to come in? And we all went off the page a little bit and brought in someone that you wouldn't think of. And you said, who as your third guy, which I thought was a great call.
I had Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin, and Jeff Brom, the coach of Louisville now, who's back at his alma mater. I think his career trajectory is similar to that of Steve Spurrier, who did pretty well as a college football coach. I don't think going to Louisville is quite as advantageous as Spurrier getting the Florida job. He had more resources, of course, to work with there. But I just really like what this guy won games at Purdue. And I think we were talking before the show. One of the things I measure a coach that's come into a program that's struggling and has some success. I like to watch the couple seasons right after they leave. Mm-hmm. And if the team collapses and goes right back to the level they were before, that tells me that guy's a pretty damn good coach. And I'm really high on Brom as a guy that I would look at if I had an opening at my program. You'd have to talk him off his alma mater, but that was kind of my sleeper.
He is loved in Louisville, Kentucky. And of course, I got a chance to meet him and know him pretty well. Had dinner with him a couple of times. And of course, he was with the UAB program. They don't play anybody until almost October. Eastern Kentucky, James Madison, open date before Bowling Green. And you look at
The
the
Reds
schedule.
Who
are going
almost
great,
beat
man.
Penn State
Yeah.
last year, by the way.
True. Then they have their first tough game, conference game at Pitt, September 27th. According to this site, they've got to win that game. Virginia. Then they got another open date, 2 open dates inside the first 6-7 weeks, and you haven't really played anybody. They're going to
Boy,
be
it seems
really,
like everybody's got that. That's
and all their open dates they're all like a 2 or 3 weeks apart. Like you'd like to have one at the beginning of the season, maybe one at the end.
That would be ideal, you'd think.
Then at Miami, Boston College, at Virginia Tech, Cal, Clemson at home, at SMU, and then they finish the season obviously with Kentucky for the Bluegrass.
Who's going to suck? So that's a winner. Chalk that one up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I could certainly see the Louisville Cardinals playing a 9-3 possible playoff team.
Yeah, absolutely possible. I agree with Kip. I think Braun would be my number 3 if I went in. I just like the guy. He's another one of the quarterback whisperers. Allegedly, has got a pretty good offense. I want to see their defense put up. They had a pretty decent defense the last couple of years in Louisville. I was going to say Mark Stoops as my third, just to see if I could get a laugh. There you go. I don't think anybody, including Kentucky fans, want Mark Stoops as their coach. Just for the record, I don't think anybody except maybe Kentucky wants Bob Stoops, much less Mark Stoops. Bob Stoops 1.00 negative 100. So I like Louisville. The schedule. I mean, they don't have to play. Everybody. Do they play SMU?
Yes, they do. They play SMU at SMU on the 22nd. They do not play Georgia Tech. Who was the other team?
That's big. Miami.
They do not play Miami. Yeah, they do play Miami. I'm sorry, on October 17th at Miami.
Okay, and that's big. I think I have. I either have them with 8 or 9 wins. I can't remember which one. But I think that you're going to see. You're not going to see anything like you said the first 4 weeks. And then you're kind of going to go. So I do like that open date before Bowling Green. So then get tough, get ready for the tough Bowling Green team right there. But yeah, it should be an interesting year in the ACC. I think it is probably more wide open than just about any conference.
As compared to last year, you're right. I mean, when I started looking at it, I was actually excited to read about the ACC today. I was like, wow, because there's some good teams that could certainly one game either way. When you're talking about 9-3 and 10-2s, that's whether you're going to the playoffs or you're not, which is going to be super cool. And of course, so we started this whole talk off with Bill Belichick's North Carolina Tar Heels. Before we wrap this thing up, and by the way, this show goes on every Tuesday and Friday, 10 o'clock Central Time. You can see it live on our Tony Curry Radio YouTube channel. So watch it live whenever we give out plays. And of course, during football season, we're going to be giving you a boatload of stuff, K4Wins.com for everything we do, and at K4Winners on the X format. So get after it. I do want to mention real quick before we'll get into the Big 12 coming up on our next show, but I got the Clemson Tigers winning the national championship. I think Cade Klubnik has been masterful last year, despite the fact that his name is weird. He's grown into that role. And the crazy thing is when everyone's talking about when Clemson started off so lousily, and of course we got the whole, hey, listen, if we were a stock, now's the time to buy. I'm never going to root against Dabo Swinney. I mean, I love what he does. I love his heart. I love his Christianity. I love the fact that he's a winning guy. He's won national championships. He has done it his way. And despite the fact not even dabbling a little bit in the transfer portal, he's got a lot coming back this year. Kip, we'll start with you. Is first of all, the ACC all Clemson's to win? And do you see any way they can get tripped up?
Yeah, Kai touched on it before. It seems like they have 2 complete bummer games every year. I'm not as and again, I respect your opinion on Dabo. I still think Dabo has some shortcomings. I think he gets too much into character sometimes, and I think he's got to have a good staff around him, and I'm not so sure about his coordinators now. They've been, a little bit inconsistent the last couple of years, I guess. But I mean, they're the clear-cut favorite. There's no question about that. But I don't think they're a slam dunk because we've mentioned 4 or 5 teams that if they just get on kind of the right roll, that there could be some there. And I'll also highlight that, Clemson when everything was on the line, they were the most fortunate team of all time because at home they could not cope with South Carolina and lost that last game, which should have sunk their battleship. That was their stop anybody, and Clemson all of a sudden finds itself in the championship game in the ACC against SMU, a team that I'm sorry, they were overrated. They didn't play hardly any of the good teams in the ACC last year, the few there were, and Clemson, a 3-loss team and an underdog in that game, wins, and the fact that SMU still made the playoffs is still the biggest travesty of all time, and a lot of it was based on the emotion of that game. Remember afterwards, Dabo saying, well, I'll tell you what, them fellas on that other sideline, they are a playoff team. And then Sean McDonough, the play-by-play guy, goes, well, what a valiant effort by SMU. Clemson basically sucked last year. It might have been a valiant effort, but they weren't playing a great.
And
they have a couple stumbles.
There you go. We're freezing up a little bit, so we're going to go and call the show, man.
Do you have Dabo in your?
Yeah, I have in my 3 coaches. I had Dabo Sweeney, I had Ryan Day. Any guy that can lose to his rival 4 years in a row and still win a natty, I think says something about the guy. And then I went with Jeff Traylor from the Roadrunners of UTSA. He has had a winning season every year. Just got inducted in the Texas Hall of Fame. He's the Jerry Faust of Cincinnati high school football back in the 70s and 80s. They love him there. The only thing that's working against him is his ass is old. He's 58 years old. I'm 59. I can't imagine being in his position, but he's making $4 million a year. $4 million a year at UTSA. Good night. I mean, that was Nick Saban's first number. Remember Nick Saban's $4 million for Alabama? People were like, we can't pay these coaches $4 million.
It's outrageous.
Trailer with the Roadrunners is now making $4 million a year in college football. Good Lord. It's crazy.
Clemson better watch out week 3 at Georgia Tech. Just going ahead and telling you that right now.
Brent Key
and I will say,
was on Terry's
I will
list.
tell you that I have a guy in my top 3 that because he tell you nobody else has on their radar.
And make it quick, man, because we're freezing up.
Really like that guy.
Really good coach.
We're going to call it a show, guys. We'll be back again every Tuesday and Friday, 10 o'clock Central Time, right here on the Coastal Sports Network and, of course, on Tony Curry Radio. Always you can hear this show. Just get that TKR up like 100,000 other folks have, and you are good to go. Have a great weekend, you guys. Thank you.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.